tea with G. I trust you all have something good to sip on while we're here. Because I do, although it's almost gone because I got it early this morning. So I have nothing to talk about today. It's funny how for a while there I was just bubbling over with subjects to talk about, and of late, it's just I sit down and there's nothing coming. So I rely on you all to share what's on your hearts and on your minds, things you're not uh, sure about, things that may still seem fuzzy to you about this strange world of non-dual self-inquiry, and including the word non-duality itself, which is like, what in the world does that mean? And well, it's a difficult thing to try to explain through language, which is in itself dualistic. So, what do you do? How do you do that? Well, to put it in the simplest terms, Dale, life after death. I'll get there in a second. To put it in its simplest terms, non-duality is simply a recognition that at least some things in life can, uh, can't be seen clearly through our normal dualistic point of view, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. This is not a criticism or a condemnation of duality. We're experiencing it right now. We're enjoying it, I hope, right now, because there's a sense of, me being me, you being you, and everybody else that's here just being themselves. All well and good. And we could, as our kind of intellectual life has matured, both as individuals and as human beings over the time we've been around, that's a model that has served us very well. And we've kind of gotten to the point where we think it's the only model for understanding something. So I want to understand something. I look at it very, very closely. I pick it up. I examine it. I look at it from all sides. I check out what it is. And then eventually I come to a conclusion as to what it is. Maybe I'll even take it apart, look at the inner workings of it. And that's, of course, dualistic because there's me and it, and I'm looking at it. It's made of parts. I take it apart, and there's a whole bunch of parts there that are interrelated. That works perfectly everywhere, except for one place. How is it that you can refer to yourself that way? You can't step outside of yourself and look back. You can't. You could take yourself apart and put things away, and then you realize that, well, I'm still here, looking at it. There's still a subject-object relationship between me and my hand. And then look at every image you've ever had of yourself, everything you've ever thought about yourself, everything you've experienced about yourself. Well, it's always been from somebody else's point of view. If I ask you to picture yourself in your mind right now, you will undoubtedly have some kind of a picture of yourself, maybe, 5 feet away, maybe a little further, maybe a memory of a photograph of yourself or a video or, like this right now. Um, but the fact is, you've never actually seen that view yourself. What I'm seeing on the screen right now, I see myself on the screen while all of the things are going by. And what you all are seeing, I've never ever seen. You say, but gee, it's right on the screen. Right. There's an image of me, there's a reflection of me. But I'm talking about me. And I'm talking about you. Have you ever seen yourself? No, you haven't. You can't. You cannot step outside yourself, walk away, turn around. Oh, look, there I am, and come back. You can't do it. There's this center point, this place that you are. And it can't reference anything else. So, given that all images that have been shown you have all been from somebody else's point of view, also, everything you've ever learned about yourself has been somebody else's point of view. So, all the images you have of yourself, all the knowledge you have of yourself, the self image you hold, you've never actually seen for yourself. It's all been hearsay, secondhand information, somebody else's perspective, and not you. So, non duality is simply that is how do you know yourself, but not as one thing knows another, not with the subject object relationship, but the direct perception of yourself, which would have to be a non-dual perception. Me knowing myself without any intermediary. So just for a moment, try it. Just what do you actually know about yourself? What do you know? Well, the most important and actually the only thing you can actually know from direct experience is that you are. You recognize your own existence, right? Assuming everybody here is shaking their heads, saying, yes, I recognize my own existence. Well, good. But your own existence is not something separate from you, is it? So, this recognition you have of your own being is not one thing knowing another. It's you knowing yourself, or non dual self recognition. Now, that's odd. We don't, our minds, being nothing but collections of thoughts and words and images and ideas and pictures and memories associate all sorts of things going on there, are all uh, none of them are of pure direct experience. Your mind cannot comprehend direct experience because minds have to have two things to operate. They have to. All of our language, our intellect, our concepts are always one thing being described in terms of something else, but you're just looking at you. What is your experience of yourself? It is so quiet, so seems ephemeral because there's nothing there. Well, there's no things there, but you're there, right? You are there. And you know that you are. The practice that goes with non-dual insight is simply returning to that place. It's returning back regularly to that place where you just know that you are. Don't know what you are. And you'll find you don't need to. Just that you are. We do that in a meditation, and your mind will say, okay, but now what? What do we do with this? Or how does this help me in my life? Do your best to just kind of, at least for a little bit of time, put all that to the side, to just be present with one thing you know for absolute sure. The one thing that actually is the direct experience of yourself without an intermediary, without anything in between. And that is simply the sense of being. It is this simply putting your attention on that sense. I am. I exist. I am here. I have no idea what I am. And in fact, any idea of what I am would be knowledge gained from the outside, because it would just be an idea. But the experience of being, that's not an idea, is it? It's not an image. It's not a concept. Yeah, you are. Sages forever have said, just put your attention there. This was the big discovery. Going back thousands of years, the rishis, the sages, the enlightened beings from all time have recognized this one thing that was certain, one thing that was your direct experience of yourself and not coming from any place outside of yourself, and that was the sense that I am. Believe it or not, that's what the story of Moses and the burning bush was actually all about. I am speaking. Who sent me? I am. What's your name? I am. All right. I'll leave it. I'll leave it for that at that, because all I can do is recommend it as something that you um, look at enough. Just put your attention there enough. See if it gets your interest. See if it becomes something you go, this is different. And you may notice that when you do that, you'll find that it's very quiet there. It's not a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on, not a lot of conflict. It's very quiet. But that quiet is not just an absence of things out there. That quiet is coming right out of that sense, I am. So there's more there than just this empty space. There's a lot more there, but it all is emanating out of that sense, I am. So, somebody's saying my mic's not loud enough. Everybody feeling that way? I will push it, as it's kind of hard. I don't want it to distort, but sometimes it's like that, depending on what device. It seems to be loud enough on Zoom. Let me check the audio, see how is that better, folks? I hope so. AD? Yeah, hope so. That's as high as I can make it go. my ongoing argument with the microphones of the world. Yeah. So, well, now it's too much. Boy, you guys are fussy. Jeez. All right. I'm down to here now. It's great. He says it's great. Maybe it's just AD. Can I get a survey here? Can I get a consensus? I've put it halfway in between where AD said it needs it louder, and now says it's great, and PSH says maybe too much. So if I can get some consensus from the crowd here, I'll do my best to adjust. I have to keep it softer when I'm using Zoom during my classes. In the meantime, I will go back and I will say hello to everyone who's here. Not a whole lot, probably because I've changed the time. I'm starting it a little bit earlier, mostly for my own benefit, because getting done earlier in the afternoon, especially if it goes late, I kind of like having the afternoon on Sunday. So this is as early as I'll go, because then in Europe it gets more complicated. Hello, Ava, Rosario, Barb, Write Stories. Hello, world. The world says hello to you, Barb. Fatima is here from Slovakia, using her other name now. There's Marty. Hello, Marty. And Jill. Oh, my good buddy Jill. Ms. Nay. I did respond to your email this morning, Nay. I hope maybe you saw that. Hi, it says Dolly. Just want to know about life after death, please. Well, Well, I think by lots of people have opinions about it. Everything from there's nothing at all. It's just oblivion. You're gone. And which means that if there is life after death, if you're questioning whether there is or not, and that's the case where it's just oblivion, you cease to exist, well, you'll never know the answer. So the only answer we can ever get from our own experience will be that there is. But it's a place where people have speculated for a very long time, for a variety of reasons. It's been criticized as silly superstition, or it has just our hopes for immortality, our ways of trying to pretend that we're not going to just cease to exist. I think the best way to approach it, because it seems to be an end, a place beyond which you can't see. I think equally important and equally interesting, if you ponder it, is that it's very likely that if there is a continuation of some sort after death, well, what about something before birth? In other words, I think what we want to ponder is there a continuity to me? Do I just cease to exist? Or do I carry on in some way? I think if we look at it just reasonably, the body is constantly changing and is at some point going to poof, not be able to support itself anymore, and it's just going to stop, and all of this is just going to return back to its whatever its constituent parts are made of, and then become worm food or or, or some such thing. And um, that's good. But kind of like I saw that there's a form of burial now where you can actually have your remains kind of in a root ball of a tree, and then you're buried with with the planting of the tree. And that's a pretty good thing to how to dispose of a recyclable piece of equipment. Um, the answer to that question, I could say yes or no, but that would be an answer for your mind. Instead, what I would do, I would invite you to get to know the part of you that's here right now, that's been here your whole life, and can be recognized as having not changed your whole life. Your body has changed, undoubtedly. None of you look now like you did when you were born, which was very fortunate for your mother. We've gone through all sorts of infancy and toddler and early childhood, adolescence, teenagers, then young adults, on and on, all the way up to old man or woman. At which point, the next phase is obvious. Now, look back on your life as best as you can remember it, and see if you can notice something that's really pretty interesting. And that is that at every phase of your life, there was you were having all sorts of different experiences. Your body was different. The feelings were different. What was important was different. The meaning everything had was different. Um, content in your life, our experiences every day is changing. Sometimes to our liking, sometimes not. But notice that even remember as far back as you can remember, your actual experiencing of it, not what was experienced, but the experiencing itself. Hasn't that been absolutely the same? Now, this is your own looking. I don't want to put ideas in people's heads. I'm not here to give you some beliefs about things. I'm here to connect you up with or point you towards the place in you that has the answer. If you notice that the experiencing, the experience itself, constantly changing, but the experiencer, the sense of experiencing, and it's very subtle, has been absolutely the same from the time you're in the womb till the time that you're in the grave, when there's no more experiencing happening. So, what is that thread? What is that has been constant the entire time? And I'm sure many of you had the experience of noticing that, my God, that my body doesn't feel the way it used to. Well, what knows that it didn't feel the way it used to? What was there before and is now here now that registers the difference? Well, the name of that, the word we give to that is consciousness. Consciousness has been there the whole time, right? So let's pay attention to the consciousness for a second. By consciousness, I don't mean anything elaborate. I simply mean that which is cognizing. Right now, you hear my words, right? You see my pretty face on the screen. That's consciousness, isn't it? I mean, it's not complicated. It's your everyday experience. Has that changed over time? The consciousness itself. Now, I can say to you, no, it hasn't. And on first blush, you may very well have gone, no, it hasn't. But it is a kind of thing to ponder, to contemplate about, because it's extremely important. Because if that consciousness has not changed one bit from beginning to end, while everything else has, including the body, that the current theory of consciousness being a function of the brain, it puts a lie to that, and there's all sorts of evidence that it's not true anyway. Then suddenly you realize that, oh, something does persist. And isn't it likely, more likely than not, if it's not something that is a physical structure, but something that exists independently of that, that it's still going to be here when this body falls off. As a matter of fact, you will be aware of the body falling off. You'll look and go, oh, it died, and I'm still here. Getting to know that consciousness, right? Because you're hearing my words, right? You say, yes, I hear you, G. You know, your mic's too low, your mic's too high, right? That which is hearing it, isn't that what we call I? I mean, I isn't just referring to your body. When you say I, you're not talking about your hand, you're talking about your face or your brain. You're talking about you. I. What is that I? Well, consciousness and I are one. So I am that consciousness. Now, if I am that consciousness, it means it's very likely I was here before this body appeared. I will still be here when this body disappears. In fact, is consciousness immortal? Or better than that, does it actually exist outside of time altogether? Now, this is question. I put it as questions so that this can be contemplated. And well, how would you know these things? By getting to know consciousness itself. That would be the only way. Otherwise, you have to look for evidence within time. And if you look with evidence in time and events and places, you won't find anything that isn't changing. You will find nothing changing. And if you limit the search to there, you will conclude, this was the beginning, this is my end, that's it. Ciao for now. But if you look and notice that it is consistent, my God, consciousness does not seem to have changed. Then I am that consciousness will be an insight into your true nature. So instead of the I that is identified with the body, which is constantly changing, ups and downs, backs and forth, and is born, develops, decays, and dies, that's not I at all. The I is me who is aware of all the changes. And how would I even know? How would I even cognize change unless I was not changing, at least relative to the changes that are taking place? Change could only be detected by something that isn't changing. Now, this isn't something you just contemplate, because logically you can come to a place where, yeah, this makes sense. The intellect can grasp that and even go so far as to question whether or not the material model of the universe, which is the one that's accepted right now as the leading theory, although it's getting shaky, that model actually isn't true. that there is another way of knowing. It's in not just collecting evidence, taking things apart and looking at. There's another way of knowing that is direct. That is you looking at you. That's what non-duality is. That's what that's what Vedanta. That's what Advaita Vedanta is. It is a different way of knowing. Knowing not as one thing knows another, but knowing as one knowing itself, where the subject and the object are one. Not something that can be looked at, but you looking at you, sensing yourself, knowing, but a different kind of knowing than the intellect. That knowledge will lead you not to just the belief in life after death, but the absolute conviction that you are neither born nor will die. You are the unborn and the unchanging and exist completely outside of time. Time is an experience that you are having because all objects can't exist without time and space. Time and space are it's the word coexist. They are co-created. Time, space, objects are all one. Without objects, there's no time. There's no space. Space being simply the relative distance between two objects. Time being the relative distance between two events. Without those, time doesn't exist. So if you are the changeless, motionless, you are outside of time and space. No dimensions, no form, just being itself and timeless. Even eternity doesn't cover it because there's no time at all. Now, I went off on that one. Let's see. Okay, we got past the mic. We go back to possible mic. Where was this comment? Oh, there it is. Dolly, for Dolly. Okay. Yes. So I always urge people to simply explore consciousness because that's where the answer is. If I am consciousness, and consciousness is non-physical, that is, it does not exist as a product of material processes, but is self-existent, then consciousness is the foundation of all existence, not matter, matter being just a concept then. And being consciousness, the I, self-cognizing, means I am timeless, means unborn, undying. They're even irrelevant concepts. I experience birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, but what does it have to do with me? Just an experience on the screen. So, big answer. How is that, Dolly? Hello, Ali. So wonderful. Marty, hello to you. Let's see. Okay, that's been, let's see. Halfway is good for Miss Nay. Miss Nay. Hey, G, as we grow and develop infancy, we get conditioned to say and do certain things, mama, dada, cat, dog, etc. Before the conditioning is realized, can do humans adapt to the environment life without labeling this or that? And yes, I've seen your email. Thank you, and we'll respond. Well, yeah, I mean, sure we can. There's no need for us to label this or that. You know what all the objects in the environment are, what they do, how to use them, without having to give them a name. We don't need that capacity in order to survive, in order to live. And the proof of this is your house pets. All the animals, they live just fine. They do just fine. They do not have labels for anything. The label is necessary, though, if you want to communicate. If you want to, we need words, which means I have to invent a series of mouth noises, tongue and mouth noises, of a particular kind that we can share. So I can say, this thing, and give it. It doesn't, and of course, the actual sound doesn't matter, does it? Because the same thing if you hear people talking in any of the Asian languages, that's so foreign to our Eastern ears. We go, whoa. I mean, I can't follow it all. Can't make it out. But every language has its own label for all the things. But the actual experience of the thing is the same. The meaning given to it, the purpose of it, all of that is all in the mind. But the thing itself it's just what it is. So yes, you could get along quite nicely without language, but you couldn't talk. We have a much more difficult time organizing ourselves, and the and our capacity for higher reasoning wouldn't be able to work either, because the labels turn into images in the mind. So this sound is associated with this image. It's very useful. The problem that we experience is that we tend to get to the point where the image of the thing in our minds becomes more important than the thing itself. It's like it takes on a life of its own, and we forget that our thoughts about something are not the thing. So my favorite examples, it's getting on springtime here, and from one day to the next, here in Seattle, it's a big deal when the cherry blossoms happen. And it really happens very quickly, like one day to the next, and suddenly, shoom, these trees are just alive in this incredible pink. And there's a whole long square, I guess you'd call it, at the University of Washington. I mean, thousands of people go there every spring because it's just lined, probably about 300 yards, with the old buildings and stuff. I mean, it's just spectacularly beautiful, but it's all these cherry trees in full blossom, one day to the next, right? Now I'm talking about that, right? You're getting an image of it, you're getting a sense of it, but it's not the experience of it. And I don't need a word to have that experience. But here's what happens. You see a beautiful flower or something, right? And it wasn't there the day before, right? We pass this all the time. And all of a sudden, springtime, and one day it's just green. The next day, some bush or something is just completely alive in color. Oh, wow! It grabs your attention, and in that moment, that very first moment, there's just this. You're like stopped in your tracks. You're just overwhelmed with the beauty of it. Just pure awe. In that moment, it's just pure experience. In fact, you, the flower, are one. You're just within milliseconds. For most people, immediately comes the thought that, oh, wow, isn't that beautiful? God, it's incredible. That wasn't even here yesterday. Man, that color is such a great color. What kind of flower is that? What kind of bush is that? I don't know what that bush is. And get out the phone, you take a picture, you go, oh, it's a fuchsia or some fuchsia. Really, I think I think I saw them at Whole Food. No, it was Home Depot had them, and they were on sale. You're completely gone now. You're completely up here processing information about the experience. This is, in fact, exactly what happens. The experience of us as children and the sense of I going from the experience of your own being, which we even did a little bit right at the beginning, and then, but little by little, that I became more and more and more an image in the mind until finally somebody says I, and it's your thought of I that you are interacting with, not you anymore. And that's why it seems so difficult. We're so used to thinking of ourselves that the actual experience of ourselves is like lost in the sauce. Just being. Because I was here first, god damn it. Before there could be any thought of I had to be here first. So, who were you before any of those thoughts? And before there was any labeling, before there was any concepts or ideas? Who were you before your parents were born? So there's the power of the labels and the like allows me to do this and for you to do this. It allows for very deep and subtle things to be communicated. They cannot be perfectly expressed because they're words, they're labels of something. And in this case, I'm trying to use the words, metaphors, these stories, the expressions, the illusion, all sorts of things in order to point you towards that which they all represent, your direct experience. But in this case, I can't point you towards something that I can point to the thing. Now, that is what the thought is about. I have to point you towards you, which is not something you can just point at, but something that has to be intuited. The you that is beyond the label you. It's I without I. The I as just pure consciousness, which does not need the word I to be what it is. Even the word I is the key pointer. Matter of fact, it is the key pointer. What do you mean by I? The word I. What's it actually pointing to? For most, the word I is referring to an image in our heads that is a reference to the body and our lives and our past and our beliefs and our moms and dads, and this is who we are, and this is who our people are, and this is what we think about, and blah, 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 blah. And I go, yeah, all well and good, but who are you? What's there prior to any of that? So I may have gotten a bit far afield of your actual question there, which could have been, can humans adapt to environment without labeling? The answer is actually, yeah. I could have stopped there, but you know me. That wouldn't have been much of a pointer. Yeah. CM, do you know a practice named Fawa? Foa? No, I've never heard of that one. Yeah. New one coming all the time. Piet H says, yes, I am is always the same as from ever. Yeah. It is always the same. Yeah. As from ever. Make sure that is not a concept, even a great one, a non-dual one. So, oh yes, the I am always is. Because you're the I am. Your sense, I want your sense of I am. Your direct experience of yourself is I am. That seeing to recognize that this is timeless. It's not even forever. There is no forever to it. Forever comes from it. It is without time or space. It is, you just are. Great. Sylvia, hello, Sylvia. Rosario, thank you, G, for the wisdom of your words at the beginning. Nothing better could you give us. Mm. So welcome, Rosario. Sumit, um, uh, Chakrabarti. Is our consciousness coming closer to collective consciousness because of AI, internet all around? Um, uh, no. Consciousness, collective consciousness, arises out of the belief that your consciousness and my consciousness are different consciousnesses. There are many consciousnesses, and the fervor over artificial intelligence and what it can do is also the fervor over the basically the tech bros and their and somebody wanting to be the one who first creates the self-aware computer, and they are convinced that somehow they're going to make uh, that that computer basically conscious, based on the assumption that consciousness is a product of a certain complexity, of things. It is made up of something less, smaller than itself. In other words, consciousness is reducible to its parts. It's just believed uh, in science. Consciousness is actually referred to as the great problem of science because it simply does not make logical sense for anything to give rise to something that is inanimate to become self-aware, know that it itself exists. What's the complexity of that thing? And there's this assumption, yes, you can, it must be there somewhere, but the evidence is piling up that no, and it may have to be finally accepted that consciousness is not made up of parts. It is the irreducible. So AI, I mentioned the tech bros because I think it was their drive. I think somebody at Google actually even claimed that one of their things was self-aware, and there's some. I think there's even like an organization, right? And at some point, because of our capacity uh, to project characteristics onto things that aren't there, if the robots and AI get lifelike enough, as AI like ChatGPT and things are, we will project sentience on them. We will, because we are sentient. They're not. So the conscious AI could put all sorts of things together, because that's what it does. It recognizes certain patterns, right, which can be broken down into forms, related things about those patterns, put them together in something that it recognizes as intelligible to a human, and present it, right? And it looks like it's a smart thing, and it's not. It's also how they think we work, which to a certain extent is true, but the cognition of it is it, the AI could go out to all the greatest comedians of all time, tell the perfect joke that we would all laugh at. It might even have the capacity to make laugh sounds, but there's nothing there actually feeling the funniness. It could be very romantic, but there's nothing there feeling love. We will think there is, and eventually we realize that we have projected sentience, consciousness has projected sentience onto the body, which is not sentient. It is just a functioning, an organic functioning, but just a functioning. But the, the, the drive to be the one who finally creates an intelligent life. It's funny, Bernardo Kastrup, who's one of the science types who is said flat out, consciousness is the foundation of the universe, not matter. And he refers to these guys trying to do AI as they have womb envy. These are the men that are trying to take over that last territory that they just can't steal away from women. You know, that capacity to make babies. They're, damn it, I'm going to do it yet. I'll just make this silicon baby that that doesn't that does nothing really that well, a tool that will be misused and abused, as it already is. It's just replacing people, right? and basically throwing the people out, because the the minds that are creating it and the minds that are funding it and the minds that are using it are ignorant and dark, and they're not making it for the benefit of humanity. They're making it for the benefit of themselves. To get I heard a wonderful speech by a governor of Illinois, actually. Pitzker's his name. And he said his definition of idiocy said an idiot can be somebody who's really smart. Really smart, he says. But for him, his definition of idiocy is cruelty. And how smart they are. If they're cruel, they're an idiot. And it's pretty much what we see going on these days. It's just cruelty. Just the world is run by egos that are out of control. Yeah. But enough of that. Yeah. They're artificial. I consider them artificial intelligence. Yeah. The ego is artificial intelligence. It's the same thing. There's this functioning going on of mind, creating objects and the like. We project on it a sentience and individuality, that there's actually a functioning entity here, and then it seems like there is, but there isn't. There's no functioning entity in this body. The consciousness that's animating this body is not coming from the body, nor is it actually in the body anywhere. Consciousness has no location. The consciousness is everywhere, and this form is kind of this thing bubbled up in consciousness, reflecting on, speaking from consciousness to the ignorance, the delusion that we suffer from, that the spiritual teaching is to here to wake us up, is that we believe that consciousness is inside this object, is individual and localized. And so we project onto bodies and forms the status of being a separate entity. And that is the illusion. That is Maya. That is the whole deal. Nothing wrong with the body, the functioning, all of the things going on, but it's empty. There's nobody here in this body. This body is in consciousness. Obviously, you're all experiencing it, but this belief that I am in here, because it simply, if you put on virtual reality glasses, you'd be in a completely different place. The experience would be as if you were in that body, and it's no more real. This is simply a point of perception, nothing else, which means, folks, because it's here, the consciousness that is animating this body is animating that body. It's the same consciousness. This is the path back home, out of identification with form, into your being as formless, at which point the illusion of separation disappears. There's no more mirage in the desert. The desert's here. The bodies are fine. There's nothing wrong with life and experience. And you find out that all of that is nothing but the very manifestation of consciousness. It is consciousness in its dynamic aspect as opposed to consciousness in its essential unmoving aspect. And, oh boy, all the way up there. Did I answer all of that for you, Sumit? I completely forgot about the question and just kind of wandered off on my own there. I hope that was useful. Oh, dear. Hello, Jennifer. Jennifer. Boy, when am I going to see you in one of our... Been here a long time. When am I going to see you in one of the classes there, Jennifer? Hmm? David and Elaine. Wonderful to see you guys. Tomas. Hi to you. Fatima has a question. It's funny how some people who think that we are bodies don't realize that we can't be the body because there is nothing of the stable matter left in us that was there when we were kids. Sure, there's life after death, but of course, what else would there be? It is, yes, that is the evidence. But remember, everything that's happening is being interpreted by our point of perception. So I can look at an object, and depending on your upbringing, your beliefs, your culture, what that object is to you is completely subjective. The object itself, truth is, nobody has any idea what it is, nor will they, ever. It cannot be known, because all we have is the field of perception. Science does its very best to break it down to its parts, to describe it in terms of math instead of in terms of just our perception of it and function and that sort of thing. But even science has to admit that it cannot tell you what anything is. It can only tell you what it does. We have images of atoms when they're split and this stuff, but they're just images. They're representations, just like in our minds, because you can't actually see it. We see what it does, not what it is. So we see what the body does. What is it? We know that we are seeing. We know that we are perceiving. It's self-evident. What's doing the perceiving? It is a contemplation that everyone must do for themselves. My job is to get you so curious and so excited about it and just so into it that it kind of takes you over. At first, we all get into the spiritual path thing because we're suffering in some way, and we recognize there's an end to suffering. We get really enraptured. They're like big ideas, new insights. The world isn't what you think it is, but there's still this sense that somehow I personally am going to get something out of this. It's going to fix things for me. It's going to make my life better. It's going to improve things. Well, it will eventually, but that's not the purpose. That's not the point, and we will forget that along the way. To use the example of getting into a boat, get into a boat, speedboat. You're going to make a wake right behind you. But you don't get into the boat for the purpose of making a wake. Let's go make some wakes. Maybe you're some resort in Cancun or something on one of the rented jet skis and you're drunk. Maybe you just want to make wakes. But for the most part, you get into the boat to go somewhere. And a wake is a consequence. And you don't put your attention on the wake. You put it on where you're going. The wake's there. Yeah, there's a wake. That is, you're headed to the direction for self-realization. That process will bring about shifts in your human experience. But that's not why we do it. And that's important because it's subtle. We're all, we're all kind of looking for, what am I going to get out of this? Right? All right, self-realization, great, but I got to pay the rent. Ah, yes. Take care of the rent. Don't worry. Don't flaunt it. Don't throw it away. As Christ said, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, unto God the things that are God. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Make it priority above all else. The rest will be added. Right? Don't worry about it. Take no thought for your life, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what you're going to put on. Look at the flowers of the field. Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So it becomes a matter of priority. It's a matter of structuring. If the seeking of knowing who you actually are is the top priority, it'll rearrange everything else in alignment with it, and you'll be crystal clear. It'll become clearer and clearer how distracted and how all the different ways in which we've not made it that. And this is the process really of purification, of coming to knowing yourself as you are. The stuff that isn't you just kind of fading away, moving away, falling away, little by little, until everything has fallen away and you might not even have noticed. So let's see, whose question was that? Was that anybody's? Don't realize we can't be the bias. Sure, there is life and the beingness beyond life and death. Life and death. Okay, I guess it wasn't a question. I just kind of like teed off on Fatima. Well, I've never used a golf metaphor before. I'm trying to understand what in the world is about that. Why they call it a sport even, yeah. Hit it and then you walk around a while on things. Hit it again, walk for a little bit. Don't get it. Some things in life I just don't get. Yeah, what can I say? Let's see, what do we got going on here? And you know what? I need to replenish some things here. Yes. So, if you all wouldn't mind, I'm going to take a short little break and be back momentarily. And so, just while I'm gone, just take a moment. I am just your own sense of being. Just sit with it for a moment. See what happens. Alrighty, I am back. Uh-oh, we are not focused. Come on, find me. Oh, shoot, that happens sometimes. Technology. It was so much easier when we would just meet in person. But a quick little click here and a click there, and now I am. You can all see me clearly, for what that's worth. Nay, lovely explanation to you. Thank you. You're welcome. I ask because sometimes when I walk outside, there's awareness of people, cars, trees. But in knowing that it's all coming from the same source, the awe similar to when newborns are just taking it all in without the labeling. Feels kind of weird because the mind wants to label, process, take away from experience, but also really fulfilling. For that, the mind wants to label. The mind doesn't want to do anything. This is really important because we use this language, right, because it is so active. Mind is a functioning. It's not a thing. It's not an entity that wants or doesn't want. Like AI, right? It doesn't want or not want. It has no sentience. It has no awareness whatsoever. It simply does what it was programmed to do. And for the mind, that is label, process, categorize, compare, contrast, associate, remember, connect dots. And then when it says, oh, I got it, which means it's just derived another concept that it believes in, because it has no capacity to discern the truth or falsity of anything, nor does it have an interest in confirming or denying the truth or falsity of anything. So remember, the mind is a functioning, a very powerful, complex functioning that that we have ignorantly come to regard as an entity, as ourselves. And then when the spiritual path begins, you realize it isn't yourself. We still look at it as if this entity. And it's just like AI. There's no entity there. We will go through a phase where it will be convinced that it is sentient simply because it exudes all of the qualities that perfectly that we associate with sentience. And there's no way to know because I cannot get them, I cannot become them, so I can see, oh yes, I know I am. And that's why the whole discussion is a huge distraction. You don't know if I'm sentient. You don't know what the hell's happening here. You have no idea. We imagine we do. We project things on it. We say all sorts of stuff. Oh, yeah. But all of that is a projection of you, who you do know is sentient. Put your attention there. Believe it or not. That is the self. You're calling it myself, and that sense of identifying with the body, but it's not myself. It is the self. The one who's hearing my words right now is the self, the one and only. Huh? Isn't it? No. It's the one you have misinterpreted to be a finite self identified with the body and all of this. It is an illusion projected on what is actually here. Myself, the self, same thing. You are that. contemplate. Ms. Nay, does that mean that out-of-body experiences and astral projection are mind concepts? Yes. They're just an experience, like anything else. The out-of-the-body experience presumes you are in the body in the first place, because that's the assumption. I am in this body. Well, what is it that's in this body? So it's either I am in it or I am it. Those are the two modes of thought other than the non-dual. I'm a soul in the body. The soul. And what is it? The soul is an ephemeral idea of me as a person. I leave the body. You all leave the body. We get together on some other level. We hang out. I don't know what happens. We do stuff, right? Maybe we go back in the body. Maybe not. We go. I mean, all of it is the assumption of me as a finite entity. I'm not identified with the body. Now I am a soul, a personal soul. And there are other dimensions of existence where you leave this body and you'll have a much more ephemeral embodiment, where everything will be easy and just snap your fingers and things appear. Those planes of existence exist. That's probably where Abraham and company are, believing that that's it. And in fact, it's just another experience. This path, this teaching is extraordinary. It, in that it says, no, the consciousness that is hearing my words right now is not bound. It is not localized. It has no dimensions. It has no beginning. It has no end. It was never born. It can't die. It has no color, no quality, no shape, nothing. It is nothing but pure existence. And everything else arises from it. But your experience there of just everything, seeing the actual, not a connection between all the things, but that they are all one. You, knowing you, is the universe. And it is not separate from the knower of it. But the knower is not a thing. The illusion is we mistake one of the things for the knower of the thing. And so I think the body is sentient. And that's what is knowing things. No, consciousness. You are that consciousness. That consciousness is the self. So when you're putting your attention on your existence, you little by little will go beyond your existence. The your part or my part begins to kind of dissolve, and what is left is simply existence. I am that. So, yes, people do have out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences. They astral projection, different techniques like plant medicine, all sorts of experiences. The mistake is that somehow reality, the ultimate, is an experience. But where do you hear wonderful? What about the experiencer? The one who's experiencing astral projection, out of body, near death, plant medicine, kundalini rising. All descriptions of experience, nobody asks about the experiencer. That's, I'm so grateful to have been blessed with finding this path. It's like, oh my God, nobody asks. It's all an experience. Yeah. And we're seeking experiences, higher altered states of consciousness, or, success things, all the seeking of an experience as if there was an ultimate experience. That was my belief for the longest. There was going to be this ultimate experience. Ta-da! And finally, under the guidance of a Zen master, that disappeared. Oh my God, there is no. It's not experience. I'm not an experience. I can't experience me. That's part of. I'd have to step outside. Oh, look at me, right? Oh, I'm experiencing me. You can't experience you because you are you. Anyway, um, off I go. Jennifer, it's always perfect. I know. Oh my God, yes, I want to come to class. I one day, Baba. And you bring us back sometimes too. Um, that's my job. Hendrik, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. She says, recently my mother told me that she was never in love with my father, even though they were married for 18 years. And based on his ongoing infidelity, he was not in love with her either. So sadly, that was my model for what love looks like. I'm now starting to see that love is more like an infinite inbound space. Can you extol? I love you, Jill. Yes, it is. Love, 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 love. Let us not forget that we're thinking about the ultimate, the absolute, the unbounded, the unchanging, the shapeless, formless, total emptiness, shunyata, being itself. We can take that in, especially in the beginning, because we are engaging the mind and looking at this as and it becomes kind of, we think of the emptiness as just like a nothingness, kind of just a void. And it's empty. It has no defining characteristics, because if it did, it would be limited to those characteristics. But what is the nature of this infinite emptiness? What is the emptiness? Well, its nature is love. Now, we can only think of love in terms of our experience of it, what we know. The love of our work, the love of truth, the love of satsang, the love of a lover, family, music, art, literature, making stuff, all the stuff we love, right? And it's all love, isn't it? It's clear. That's love. That's love. But if you try to explain that to somebody, well, that's love. Oh, that's love? Oh, okay. No, well, yeah, but so is that. That too. Oh, and that too. Because the when we look at simply in terms of the events and objects and experiences that we recognize as love, we miss the fact that there's this kind of this undefinable thing that we recognize in the forms, but take away the forms and we can't define it. What is love? What is music? Music's a great example for me. I've been a musician for all those years, but it's a great example because how many songs are there? How many different pieces of music from different pieces of cultures, changing over time, never stopping, ever fresh, and they're all music. And yet, music doesn't get stuck in one of those and can't get out. So that's it. That's the only song we're stuck with. Hopefully, it's a good one, right? But it's not. It is in every place where music appears, but it is not in it. It is not confined to it. It's the nature of love. It is in every form of love there is. And there is no limit to the number. and the quality and the character of form. And it's ever fresh and it never repeats itself. And yet it's recognizably love. What recognizes it as love? What is it that has the capacity to recognize love as love? Even the capacity to recognize hate and indifference. That's not love. What? Anybody know what it is that recognizes it? We want to guess real quick before I spill the beans? What recognizes love? What says, yes, that's love, and knows it? Now, you don't doubt it, do you? You don't doubt it. Well, that's music. You don't doubt it. That's life. What knows that? What can recognize love other than love? Well done. Well done, Ali. Ali and Eva. Only love recognizes it. Oh, and you're recognizing it, right? So you, love, same thing? Ah, yes, the self. The self is love. The self is truth. The self is spirit. The self is beauty. All of that's true. The self itself, just because it's subtle, the nature of it is love. The emanation of it is love. It's subtle because recognizing love means love itself is a very subtle object, very subtle, pure, absolute, nothing but itself. But it is the perfume arising from the self that is beyond all definition. It cannot be known, cannot be seen as anything, because it is the infinite unbounded, the infinite being. It is the being of everything, the being of love. What gives love existence? The self. What gives everything, what gives atoms, quarks, quantum fields existence? The self. And who is the self? Hands. Everyone here who is the self, please raise your hand. Because that's all there is. It is the all and the only, the all-knowing, the all-seeing, the all-loving, the all of all, the all in all, the one and only, the one and only you. That's you. Is that helpful, Jill? There's a second half of that. No, I'm not done yet. That is recognizing all shapes and forms and experiences that we can identify as love. Recognizing that they are all partaking of the same essential character, which is the perfume of the self. You have brought the experience, the reality of the experience, out of the form that it's taken back into its actual existence, where it really isn't just a form, but actually is the formless love. Now, knowing that, you can now go back out to this, recognize that all of it is that love. All of it is the love, is and isn't at the same time. Language is difficult here. It is and it isn't. Just like music is the song, and yet it is not the song. It's a good way of understanding the metaphor. It's love. Yes, it's an instance of love. It partakes of the nature of love. It reveals love, but love is not confined to it. Take that out, and you can see that your love, your capacity to love, your capacity to receive love, to experience love in all of its different forms. And of course, for all of us, that intimate romantic partner is kind of the pinnacle of it for human experience. Suddenly, that is the self-same love that allows you the freedom to be able to experience it, but maintains the priority where you recognize that this is the manifestation of it. I am the essence of it. And now the relationship serves that and can become just an incredibly healing thing. I mean, it can serve so many different purposes in our lives. It can, a good relationship can be the vestibule in which all the emotional distress and bullshit from our childhood can actually can be cleared away. But discover that the manifestation of it, of love and love, are not two. This is more of the non-dual stuff. It's not two. Music and the song are not two. That music can exist without the song, but its nature is to sing. The self exists. Being just is. It needs no expression to be, but that's what it does. So, Fatima, you're so right. I've always been interested in conscious manifestation. The less I focus on the process of how to manifest what I desire, the more the things manifest in my life. I mean, the more I focus on discovering who I truly am, the more naturally the things appear in my life. Yes. You find that your life and the life that is the life of all are one. The same thing holds true for life as it does for love. It does for spirit, the power of animation, and creativity, that soul. Or, I mean, the essence of it all, the creative power, even mind, is a manifestation of the infinite intelligence of the self. But it's not a personal intelligence. It's not like, boy, he's really smart. It's just beyond the beyond. Yet it knows itself. And I say it. You know yourself. That knowing is of yourself is what you call the universe or the world. Mm. Where did it go? Oh, there it is again. Okay. Drink of water. Jennifer says, self-inquiry these days is the best to keep out thought. The best known now is what is actually happening now. Very good. This pulls me back from thoughts. What my body's feeling? Question mark. Who's having this emotion? What's my body feeling? Who's having this emotion? Yes, it's very good. Going from stuff is happening. Yes, it's happening. Right. Okay. Now, what's actually happening now? as opposed to what's my thoughts about what's happening. It kind of tends to bring you in to your direct experience that, yep, this is happening. Right? This event has taken place. And then there's my thoughts about the event, which aren't actually in the event. So the event is happening, but the meaning, the history, the future, all associated with that event, well, that's not happening. It's just the event. Now, who's experiencing that? Because that's part of it, isn't it? No experience here, no experience. Shoot. Experience can't live on its own. The experiencer, as experiencer, cannot live on their own. But that which is aware of the experience and the experiencer can and does. And that's you, the ultimate witness, which is not even the experiencer of it. The experience, the experiencing, and the experiencer are all one, and they are an appearance in that which is beyond all three, which is you. Are you not aware of the experiencing, of the experiencer, and of the experience itself? All three? Are they not? Are they not? Although subtle and quite abstract, they are objects of perception, aren't they? And if something is an object of perception, if it can be perceived, however subtle, there must be something even subtler perceiving it. That's perceiving even the perceiving. See, there's a threshold there that the mind simply cannot cross. As Nisargadatta said, the mind creates the abyss, the heart crosses it. Jennifer, love, I am love. What a great time to say, I love you all. I love you, Baba. Love you too, Jennifer. Zaria, thank you, Jennifer. Jenny, yes, nothing is actually happening. Thought has created everything. Well, thoughts themselves were created, weren't they? What created that? Thought is simply, as the Ribhu Gita put it, an evanescent ripple in the infinite ocean of being. That's a thought. And what is a mind? Mind is nothing but a word for a collection of thoughts. It's not a thing at all. It's a word for representing the creative explosion, the radiance of the self, where things are and yet are not. That is, they are empty of self-existence. They are and yet they are not. Hopefully, that strange, arcane, non-dual language like that doesn't sound so abstract, because it's the only way you can put it. They are, obviously, the tree exists as an experience, but when you look closely, you find that the tree is made up of trillions of little piece parts, each of which are made up trillions of little piece parts, that it's empty of a tree. It's empty of self-existence. The tree as a concept is this static picture, but when you actually look at the tree, what you see is a dynamic transformation happening constantly. And so the tree is empty of self-existence. The body is empty of self-existence. In Buddhist terms, there's no self. That which is cognizant, aware of all of it. You cannot define the way we'd normally say is a self. You say the self, which is simply that which is, which Buddhists would just simply refer to as no self or emptiness itself. We would even go so far as to say even emptiness is empty. Anything you can talk about is perceived. It's an object. The perceiver, you can't talk about it. And yet, what do I do all day, every day? I talk about it. I talk about that which can't be talked about, and man, is it fun. So if I worn you all out, if I tired you all out, or maybe, maybe your minds have just stopped for a little bit. Just, maybe there's nothing more to say. Thought has created the emotion, which is another thought. Yet at the present moment, no thing is really happening. Emotion was created by a thought of whatever is fear or worry. Yet that's future events and the now, no worry. Yeah. Thought, emotion, sensation are all different words for the different character or experience of what in fact is simply a movement, a vibration, if you will, in consciousness. It is all consciousness. Vibrates this way, we call it thought. Vibrates this way, we call it emotion. Vibrate this way, we call it sensation. And then those give rise to other thoughts, and like the colors of the rainbow combine in just infinite kinds of combinations to make the beautiful range of perceivable colors that we have. These emotion, sensation, and thought, they combine and recombine to make the 3D experience that we have, that is purely a projection on the screen. So thought, emotion, and sensation are actually all the same, just like red light and violet light are both light. They're all different aspects, vibrations. It's good enough because it's because what is it? It is consciousness modulating itself. It is you being you, which makes all this, everything. Christina, the last couple of months I feel disconnected from self-inquiry. I hear you, I understand what you say, but it doesn't go beyond the mind. It did before, and the glimpses of love I have sometimes are short, and I go into all mental concepts and thinking about it, not feeling it. The self, it's me. Yeah, okay, whatever. I love you, Christina. Well, good. That's why I'm so happy you're in the program for emotional freedom, which is we just have a habit of going into our minds. That's all. But and in that process, especially if you're already going into the mind because childhood stuff, which is all of us, it's just like epidemic at this point. It's going to be stiff and stale and the like. So get back down here where you actually feel it, and then you recognize that it's not a concept at all. It's not mental at all. It's just love. Oh, I feel love, this feeling, these sensations that I feel. Well, wow. Um, I'm feeling all of this, and I have the capacity to feel, to to feel this, and that's enough. Just leave it at that. Be, be become just enmeshed in just, wow, this is the totality of life that I'm experiencing. Like, as you said yesterday, I don't want to go out. That's self-realization, my dear. That is, you know yourself now. No, you know what you feel. That is self-knowledge. That's you recognizing you. It's so much simpler. So I will sneak the self-inquiry into you through the back door. Don't worry about it. I'm kind of, you know, I'm kind of devious in how I can get I can I can get it in there, and it's kind of actually kind of fun to kind of find my way around the cracks. But it's all that, right? And it's not a concept, is it? You feel love, and I love you too. This love I feel. There you go. Forget about trying to define what that I is that feels, or the I that says, I don't want that. And I says, I do, right? But same I, but how do you define it, right? Like, how do you define music without the song? It's the same I want that. Just don't even try. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just, you just keep coming back to this place of your own experience, the validity of your own experience, and you find that you just kind of know yourself better. And that is self inquiry. And remember, the self, who you are, is, you can't, we're never going to get to a place where you go, this is who I am. I made it. Well, damn, I made it. Here we are. I know who I am. Um, Now what? Now what do I do? There's no end. The self isn't a thing that you're going to, yourself is not a thing that you're going to eventually know, this is where, and have the perfect concept of yourself. Not to mention, perfect body, right? It's going to be frozen in time, so it never gets old. So, you know, it's always going to be 25 years old, right? Whatever that perfection was. Right? Um, and no, it's going to be, you are always the same. The experience of yourself is always changing. But there is a kind of a reconnection to that wisdom that just says yes when it means yes, no when it means no. Yes, I know I love you. And I love you too. I know it. Now, did you figure that out? Do I? You just knew. That's it. That just knowing, that's the self inquiry. We're done. We don't have to do this ever again. You all got it. Good. I'll come back in a year or so, check up on you. It's I'm always quick to remind everyone that there isn't anyone here who didn't enter into this path after probably many other paths, all of which were seeking the answer to suffering. Right? That's what Siddhartha was doing when he he set out, left a lot of stuff behind him to find the answer to suffering. And it was that quest that brought him to become what we what we know as the Buddha. Non-dual inquiry, all spiritual inquiry, was just this curiosity about how, why are things the way they are, and driven by the motivation of, must we suffer? We are suffering. Life is suffering. Life survives by eating other life. This kind of grinds like the sand in an oyster, just kind of grinds inside. We have to come to an answer for it. And we've all tried various paths, not only in this life, but other lives, that didn't have a satisfactory answer. And then eventually, just through the grace of truth itself and love, you find your way to the path that does lead to the end of suffering, by discovering that you're not the sufferer, that the I that you thought you were isn't who you actually are. But that path leading to the end of suffering. That's why I teach and work with people on emotional healing, because if you just take up non-dual self-inquiry all on its own, it is I don't think at this time in human history, at least in the West, at this state of mind, that you can actually grasp it. Very rarely could that happen, simply because for most, it becomes yet another way to deny our feelings, to suppress the pain of our own suffering. But if you can acknowledge that and be willing to be with that, you can transcend it. Because the way out is it's not a wallowing in the suffering, it's not an adjustment of circumstances. It's getting to the heart of the sufferer to find out who you really are. You can't do that if you just stay in the intellect. Come back, be present with it. That's what we do. That's what the emotional healing is about. To come to terms with your own human experience in such a way that without knowing it, you're transcending it. By transcending it, I mean no human, nothing in the world I'm not experiencing. That's bullshit. What it means is that you're coming to experience it as it actually is. There's no more pushing it aside nor trying to compensate for it. It's the pure experience of it. Then the transcending is a subsumes. The greater includes the lesser. It does not throw it away. What we try to do is the spiritual bypass. We're going to go up here, this absolute or heaven or something like that. And then all of this is going to go, somehow we're going to get rid of it. You're not. You are going to come into right relationship with it, see it as part of the picture. Then you will transcend it and embrace it at the same time. Also not two. Freedom from it and total immersion in it are one. Yay. Let's see, Jennifer. It's very powerful when that sentence is spoken to recognize that I'm in it. Ugh. Yay. Class would be better than typing. About time, girl. About time. Easy. Satsang every Wednesday. And I got emotional healing classes going on too. So, yeah, Jennifer, you know, just saying. Dave, with profound thanks, Lord Chief, for your words of wisdom, which we know you don't claim ownership of. Thank you. Oh God, no, Jesus. When I say, yeah, boy, yeah. Because my parents, especially my mother, really wanted I was going to be a lawyer, right? Lawyer, that was, yeah, and politician and all of that. Very, very extreme in her. Could you imagine me as a lawyer? Good God. Oh my God. I've got papers laying on the couch because I don't know what to do. How do you file? What do you do with these? Jesus. My, my God. Completely. No, I can't claim ownership of anything. Yeah. I am I am a dysfunctional human being who, for some miraculous reason, happens to be functioning. Don't ask me how. Really, don't ask me how. Ella, thank you for bringing me. You're very welcome. Very welcome. Um, Christina, I resisted just so I can come back to you again. Here it feels real. Uh, Back to the simplicity. Yes, we don't want to miss that. Don't want to miss that. The 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 love that is that is because non-dual, not two. Love. It is the manifestation of the oneness is what we call human love. I don't know. Seems pretty obvious to me. But then I didn't make it up. Yeah. I am I am this body is just the radio. The radio doesn't make music. Yeah. Savvy Grace GP, that's how we dysfunctional humans functions, in my humble opinion. My humble opinion that just always happens to be right. Totally with you, Ali. It is grace. It is grace. That's all you can say. How does a dysfunctional human being manage to function? Grace. By grace we are saved, and that not of ourselves, lest anyone should boast. Thank you, St. Paul. All right, all my loves. 'Tis time. Our time together has come to an end for now, but satsang goes on forever. Thank you all. All my love to you.